Hey guys, Show Me here, just giving you guys a quick little video on how to do Temple of the Jade Serpent. It is currently a fortified week, so the polls are going to be a bit smaller in some places, but overall it's going to be more or less a lot of the same. This is just a group of random people, so that explains why the key was just put in all willy-nilly without any form of timer. But yeah, so nothing too crazy gonna happen here. So we're basically gonna pull this. This is standard pull. I don't like that he did that circle there, but that is a-okay. Warrior moment. Usually, so this pull on a fort week, you would want to hero it. Something important, this water elemental, he will cast I can't even remember the name of it. Tainted Ripple, there we go. So he'll cast that. You can actually LOS that behind the wall. On higher keys, that's definitely recommended, as it does a lot of damage. Surging Deluge, you just move out of that. It's no big deal there. Second pull, you're going to do this. I personally will grip this water speaker because I know I can handle the CCs on it myself. And then like I was saying, like you just pull it to this area on the wall, so anybody who knows to LOS just has a chance to LOS. The water speakers will just spam cast Hydro Lance. There's really not much you could do about that. Just people need to rotate kicks and everything. Biggest thing they cast though is Tidal Burst. If that goes off, it's basically a group wiper. Me and the Warrior overlap kicks on that. He also was saving his kick for it, so he knows what's up. Yeah, and then so these water droplets, in general, I would never recommend pulling them into that pack. That pack is actually pretty scary. It's like the hardest pack to properly LOS on top of having 2 water speakers. Those guys suck. Like, they just sit there and spam cast. Like, they are very dangerous. So you want to kind of group them up. I use Grip to interrupt that Tidal Burst, which is really useful. I use Kick to interrupt that Tidal Burst. So now they're not going to do anything, right? And like, you see our healers just back there just getting slapped. I use my Disorient just to kind of kick them. That one's on me, so it's not a big deal. I'll grip that just to stop that. This one's also Tidal Bursting. I have Kick, so I'm going to kick that one. Deluge just baits on a person. Perfect. Let off his last Ripple. And then we're going to kill him, right? So that's basically the first area. Like I said, I would hero that first pack, especially on a fort week. This boss is super fun. I know plenty of you have probably had your groups just rip your key here. Big thing is you just want to cycle kicks. Ideally, you don't want him to get any kicks off, because like, you see that Rogue has Corrupted Vortex on him now? Like, if he had the Hydro Lance on him as well, that would just be horrendous, right? Because like that can just kill you. This wash away, you just need to stay away from it. This water area, it pulses a few times, and then it does a big one, right? That'll knock people up, and the higher the key, the more likely it is to kill you. And getting hit by this wash away is a death sentence as well. You do not want to get hit by that. I'll kick that. Shaman also kicked super late, but that is a-okay. That one's on me. It doesn't need to be kicked. If it's ever on your tank, you can save your kick there, which is very good. Because it just overall keeps everyone a lot healthier. And you'll have more kicks just in case there's a lot more interrupts to get. I kicked that one. I think, yeah, perfect. We're going to get a wash away. So my kick will be available just right out of this. Something you can do is a Death Knight. That's really cool. This wash away, if I press AMS, I don't have to move. It does 0 damage to you. That is Death Knight specifically. I don't think any other class can do that outside of having, like, you know, a Cloak of Shadows from a Rogue or just like Paladin Bubble. But AMS is a 40-second cooldown, assuming you're taking the Anti-Magic Barrier talent. So that'll make it available for every wash away, which is fantastic. This next part, on a higher key generally, on a fort week, you will skip these pandas. These pandas are ruthless. They do a ton of damage, and it's not just to the tank, they nuke everybody. These Shaws will cast Haunting Scream. You just need to make sure those are kicked. As a Death Knight, I have tools to make sure that I can kick them every time. I can individually kick one, or I can just grip them during their cast, and then they will never cast their fear, which is really good. We didn't clear there, so I human racial it, and I put an AMZ down in hopes that my people will live. Unfortunately, they did not, but that is just one of the downsides to thundering. This next pull is fantastic. It's pretty easy. It's just this fish, and then I'll generally pull the Shaw in. And then same thing here, right? So the fish has something you need to interrupt. The warrior got it for me, which is fantastic. And then I'll interrupt the Shaw just to make sure nobody gets feared. Something great about this fish as a Death Knight, you can both AMS, so I'm going to pop AMS here, and I don't get put to sleep. I can also Lichborn, so say it puts me to sleep and I forgot to AMS, I can press Lichborn while I'm asleep and get out of it. So that's just going to be super helpful. This bird sucks. We really hate this bird. It does this. I always try to move this way because this is generally where my melee are going to go, so I can bring all the little shotlings to them. Makes it nice and easy. This group is pretty stacked for a 14. They're doing really good. I think this guy's going to get 2k off of it, which is really nice. And then now that the bird is alone, I don't really care what side I go to. I just go to what side is easiest. As a tank, I can sit in the territorial display, but on, you know, higher key levels, that's just bad practice. It's risky for no reason. This pull, scariest thing is the beetle and the tiger. So the beetle will cast its thing, the Hosen will do that. So I can grip this beetle, I can disorient it. The golden barrier is what we don't want to have happen. That dude's nuking that. I have nothing for that catnap. Luckily they got it for us. But yeah, so the cat will leap to people. It's good to have like CCs. If you have a monk, it's good to put like a ring of peace, so if it ever jumps, it just gets stopped. If I'm quick enough on it, I can grip the cat, and then you just want to interrupt catnap because that does heal it. Down here, we just nuke this scroll. And then we unfortunately get thundering right here. Kind of a waste, but that's okay. Strife and Peril, this boss is, it's not hard, but it is very annoying. If you don't know how it works, basically when you attack them, there are stacking debuffs. Once that stacking debuff gets to 10 stacks, they become immune to damage. They do less damage to you, which is nice. But like, as you can see, they have stacks right there. So this guy's at 4, that guy's at 3. If you stop attacking them, the stacks go away. So we're at 6. Usually you'll want to swap on 7. Intensity. And then look at that. Since we stopped attacking him, all of his stacks went away. So now we're going to get this guy to 7 stacks. And then we swap back to this one. Right? It's that easy. There's also a buff. I currently have it, which is funny. Ideally, you don't want your tank to have it. It's called Feeling of Superiority. So if you're all by yourself, it's just a buff that goes on you and increases damage and healing, but also does a good amount of damage to you. So realistically, what you want to do is, if it's a tough week, like maybe it's a Tyran week, you give it to your healer. If it's just a week where you're trying to get through it as fast as possible, you give it to a DPS. It'll infinitely just keep scaling, right? So I'm going to give it to the rogue. You step on the rogue, and then he gets the buff. Oh, that's partially my bad. But like I said, so it doesn't do anything. It just sits here. It just sits here. It's really weird. Since I gave him the buff, my damage and healing is reduced by 5% now. And it's like, you know, some weird lore thing. I feel inferior because I lost my buff. But yeah, fight super easy. You can just kill these, no problem. Now we run up. We're starting the second part of the dungeon. So there's the big infester. Of course we pull this. Something a lot of people don't know, this pillar in the middle, you can use this to LOS. So what that means is this guy will spawn a lot of little Shaws. Now that he's casting that flames, it's safe for me to go over here and do this. This is gonna cast eventually. There it is. So all these little Shaws, they explode and do, oh, I think I just got someone killed. They explode and do a lot of just little damage. I'm gonna res that guy because it's technically my fault he died. So yeah, these Shaws will come up. The ones that spawn from the Infestor, they don't get raging, which is nice. All the little ones that are naturally occurring, they do get raging, so you do have to be very careful of those ones. But you kill the Infestor off, super easy. You just dodge his frontal. It's really the biggest thing if you pay attention to that, but you can LOS the Shaw explosions using that. That's like a little tech thing that's important to know. Oh, wow. We had 2 people die. We can pull without them, though. So we're going to get this Mistweaver. We'll pull this group just into this room. Kick that. Make sure that's all kicked. Get aggro on those guys. These guys are running around like crazy. I can't dodge them. I don't know how that guy just died. Let me double check that. Touch of Ruin. Oh, you know what? They do put a debuff. Forgot about that. That is a-okay. So with that, these mobs, Defiling Mist, you just need to stop that as soon as possible. This minion right here does a crazy bad tank buster. That Dark Claw, it hurts. Like, this is a 14. It took me below half, right? Of course, that was with no mitigation or anything, but that is something to definitely watch out for as a tank. And then now he's raging, so it just does even more. The Guardian also has a tank buster. He does like a kick type ability. It's just Rising Sun Kick, I believe. It just hurts, but it's nowhere near as bad. It's also physical damage, so we're not too scared of it. With those Shaw being there, we don't like that. Something I'm going to do that's a little bit weird. And this is more or less just some tech that I use, right? So something you can do here is I can do this. I can come up to this wall, and I can use Blood Boil, use my Death and Decay. Sometimes it works, sometimes it won't. But something you can do is you can pull these mobs through the wall. So what this does is it does make overall the dungeon a little bit quicker, because this mob isn't too dangerous by itself, and then just being able to get all these little ones is fantastic, right, for efficiency reasons. Biggest thing, we just need to make sure we get all of our kicks and everything. Like, that guy's just big Defiling Misting. Luckily, the Warlock stopped it. He was getting nuked, and he was like, I don't want to get nuked. Same thing here. It is a little bit scarier of a pull, especially in a pug when people don't have like assigned CCs or anything. But as you can see, everything went super well. This pull is definitely going to hurt. So this is something I do as a huge time save in higher keys. So I'll pull all of these.
Haunting Scream.
Oh, that was bad. That was very bad. But what I can do is hopefully nobody dies to this. Everything got pulled. Oh, wow.
Haunting Scream.
That's kind of silly. Everything managed to get pulled right there. So we are just going to have to hard reset. Unfortunate fear, honestly. Yeah. And that's a-okay. We're just going to make our way back. No one's mad, hopefully. You never know. Sometimes people get mad. But, like, wipes will happen. It's not a big deal. What I just did was a semi-risky double pull. You don't have to do that. On higher keys, it's something that definitely is necessary in a form of being able to just time the key. I'd say the timer in here is pretty tight, so it can be a little bit scary. Also, wiping in this area sucks because this run back is horrendous. Especially as a Death Knight, because I'm super slow. But it's okay, I'm catching up. I'm almost there. I did not have my Blinding Sleeve, which is actually why I missed that kick there. I thought I had it, which would have made that pull just a lot more possible. Because I will credit that wipe completely to us just missing kicks. There. Because I disorient that, now we're just fine and dandy, right? Cool. Since we just have this one minion, these guys just do tank busters. So realistically, if your tank can handle it, you can just chain pull these. Biggest scary thing is those little Shaws, right? Those will explode and mess your healers up. Mess up the whole group because they're all raging. They all die at the same time. And if we don't have like a big mass derage, which evokers can do, we're kind of screwed. That's okay. And then this group right here, I usually will focus Mistweaver just to make sure every kick goes off on that. Generally, people will focus that Shaw. If they don't, I do have an ability. Perfect. The Rogue got it, so we're all good there. I'll grip this Defiling Mist so that guy doesn't die. So, if you skip the 2 pandas earlier, you can actually pull this Guardian and a Mistweaver. They're just on a bridge over there, and they will give you the percent that you need. They are much easier to kill than the pandas. So they're a very good just value to actually just pull. You can pull them with the boss if your group is good enough, or you can just pull them separately if you have the time and you don't want to be risky. Something about this boss is it is very deadly for tanks. Specifically like warriors, I've noticed. This is like one of their worst bosses. It just does that big tank buster, the Serpent Strike, and in the second phase, it turns green, puts a big healing absorb on you, which for warriors isn't the best. Luckily, as a Death Knight, I can press AMS, I never get the debuff, and I stay full HP. Also, if you point the boss the same direction every time you move in or out, it will shoot the fire in the same spot. It's not always 100% reliable, but I swear that's how it works. And then right there, I just pop a cooldown so I can instantly heal myself. Easy peasy. And so see that? Like we only got 2 instances of the fire, and they went to the same spot, which just gives all of my melee more room. Jade Fire Breath, don't... Just point it in the same direction you've been pointing the whole time. Generally, your DPS won't run with you, and then with the Fire Breath being here, nobody will accidentally just get clipped by it. Because it will one-shot a DPS. It'll one-shot a tank on a high enough difficulty if you don't have quite enough gear, so it's always a little bit scary. This next pull, we're going to do the single. You can do it double if you're in a very coordinated group, but with the Mistweaver, it's very scary. Once the Mistweaver dies, the Guardians just do leg sweep, which is annoying, and then they also do that Rising Sun Kick, which is a tank buster. So if your tank can handle it, you can just pull more. So right here, I'll pull these guys. Unfortunately, I don't look at the water speakers too much, because I'll handle the Mistweaver every time. I'll disorient that just because I don't know if anyone was going to kick. I grip that, and now I'm like out of CC, right? So I depend on everybody else to do their CCs. We got a good stun from the lock. That's on me, so we're happy. He got that, so I can kick that. I can grip this one. See, and just the way we cycled that made it super easy. Now the Hydro Lances are going off, so we're scared. That one's on me, which is perfect. That one's on the Warrior. It got kicked, so we're all good. Alright, guys, scariest pull in the dungeon. That Shaw right there, he casts a fear. We hate him. The rest of the Shaws, they just cast tank busters all the time. And here it is. So, Dark Claw, right? They use Dark Claw, that's a tank buster. That'll just kill me. This guy casts Haunting Scream, we interrupt him. In general, if you can't sit here and face tank this, don't. Like, if you need to kite, you need to kite. Like, that's just the rules, you know? I just do a good job of cycling defensives and everything just so I won't die. I make sure to just keep myself at full HP as much as possible. Because as long as you just cycle your stuff properly, you can easily live here. I'll put this down just so we have a little bit of extra just survivability. Unfortunately, Swole Big died. He was in the breath. Swole Big Nads. Very funny name. We appreciate him for it.
Flames of doubt.
Put this down, we kill all these little Shaws, and look, we're still on pace to 2-chest this, right? Even though we had a wipe, we just did good pulls. The DPS are doing a pretty good job, so we're looking good there. Healer, I just want to make sure he is drinking, so I'm going to go ahead and pull. You ideally want to pull it to the middle. As a Death Knight, I have 3 taunts, so I can do it pretty easily. Unlike a Warrior or like a DH, they would get it to this spot a little bit slower because the DPS run up there and they start blasting. One scary thing is Touch of Nothingness. So Pajamas here has Touch of Nothingness on him. It just does a lot of damage. Usually you'd run like double Dispel, so like having a Warlock and a healer is a big deal. Bounds of Reality will summon a couple adds. You ideally want to stack up just so they're all grouped up. We didn't quite do that, which isn't a super big deal. You just need to kill these before his Bounds of Reality cast goes off, or else you'll basically just wipe. You can live it if you have a good enough defensive, but realistically, if that goes off, you're screwed. The boss heals, it'll probably one-shot 2 or 3 people minimum, so it's pretty rough. And so luckily, the Warlock's doing a good Dispel. If you don't have that bonus Dispel from, say, a Warlock, you unfortunately just have to kind of eat the damage, so that puts a lot of pressure on the healer. If you ever just are sitting with a Touch of Nothingness, even if you don't feel necessarily scared, you should pop a defensive. Just anything to help you stay alive. And then this boss does nothing to a tank. It is all just group damage. As a tank, you just kind of sit here, do damage, pray for the best. Pray that no one takes big damage, because there's not much I can do for them. So right here, we got all our debuffs. We should ideally stack up. Quaking hates us. And then I'll put down the AMZ right there just to kind of mitigate some damage. Grip that add-in so we're all grouped up nice and easy. And then we just destroy the Figments and then we're back on boss. There's a little bit of damage going out, but that's no big deal. That are going to clear. And that's it. I mean, that's the whole dungeon. You guys even saw we even wiped. We still 2-chested. Things went relatively smooth for the most part. Just a big thing in this dungeon is there's a lot of tank busters, then there's a lot of things you just need to kick. So as long as you get those, it's a very easy, straightforward key. With that, thank you guys so much for watching. I do film all of this live, so it is very just, you don't know what's going to go on. Sometimes I scrap videos because we just deplete the key within the first like 5 minutes. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you learned a little bit about how to tank or just general routing or just what the mobs do. Thanks guys, have a good day.